important topic for people that are just getting into the coaching game. Mimicry is an especially important skill when you're learning how to do something, when you're learning how to imitate people. Now, we get to watch performers, we get to watch actors, singers, dancers uh, do what they do. And we get to watch teachers do what they do too, and from the time we're little kids. But we don't often get to watch the people who prepare performers. If you are a coach, if you're going to be a weightlifting coach, you're the one that prepares weightlifters for their performance, and you need to figure out how that's done. The problem is, most of us that are just getting into it don't get to watch that happen very often. Now, what I learned over a 40-year teaching career, I taught secondary science. Most new teachers enter the profession underprepared as far as tactics go. They teach you a lot of theory and they give you a little bit of experience, but a lot of the most effective tactics that you're going to learn are things that you pick up on the job. Now, there are no new tactics. There's no new tactics really in teaching, and there are no new tactics in coaching. But what you have to do is assemble a unique collection of tactics to make up your coaching toolbox. And it's the uniqueness of the collection that's going to make you into the very effective coach that you can possibly be. The trouble is that weightlifting coaches have in learning from other weightlifting coaches is that most weightlifting coaches work in solitude. Now, historically, there were very few weightlifting coaches in America until the 1970s. There just weren't any. There were a couple of people that coached here and there, but no real coaches that really understood programming. And they were just people that happened to find talented athletes and taught them some lifting and then let them go at that. But from that point forward in the 1970s, many lifters saw coaching as a way to stay involved once their lifting days had ended. And that was before the master's program came about. So a lot of lifters knew that after about 35, their lifting days were over. And if they wanted to stay involved, they had to find some way to do it. And coaching was the most obvious thing. So we developed a new generation of coaches in this country in the 1970s. And that group has been growing. Now, unfortunately, coaching weightlifting is a very solitary activity. It's something that you do on your own, and you can actually spend hours and hours every week doing your coaching, and you don't get to interact with any other coaches until you go to a meet. Now, on top of that, distance coaching, where you're writing a program for somebody and sending it to them and then watching videos, that can isolate you even more because you've got to spend so much time doing the programming and then reviewing the videos. And you can do that on an entirely solitary basis. So if you are like a lot of coaches now, you're not getting out there, you're not talking to weightlifters, you're not talking to other coaches. No, coaching education courses are just a start. They teach you the rudimentary things that you need, the importance of safety, how to teach technique, a little bit about programming, but they're just a starting point. Now, I would advise that if you are an aspiring weightlifting coach, that you first of all go watch coaches at meets because you're going to be able to find out how they deal with the performance situation. Now, you might go to a meet, you might be coaching an athlete, but there might be sessions where you have no athletes, in which case you can sit in the audience and you can watch the platform work, see what the coaches do, how they react to their athletes being successful, how they react to their athletes not being successful, and a little bit about what they have to do in order to coach the best performance out of their athletes. Now, it's difficult to do at national meets, but at local meets, you can go in the warm up room, you can watch how they warm up the athlete. And in actuality, most coaches would actually welcome a little help. If you want to do some of the loading backstage, you can help out a coach and find out how they're working. You can listen to what the coach is saying to the athlete. You can see how the athlete is reacting to the warm up. So you can actually volunteer to help out. And I think that's a great way for you to learn how to coach. A lot of the people that I've instructed on how to become coaches have done that, and it's really helped them a lot. Personally, I love the pre-staging area at national meets. At national meets, there's a pre-staging area that's just off the competition platform, and athletes sit there waiting for their turn to go up. You can hear the banter that takes place between the coach and the athletes. Some of it's very, very good information. Some of it's just a lot of talk, but you can pick up on a lot of things that are helpful and a lot of things that you should probably try to avoid. Another thing you can do is visit coaches at their gyms. Now, you can find out when you go there, and by the way, most coaches are actually pretty flattered if you say that you want to see how they coach, you want to learn how they do it. We're not hiding any secrets, by the way. Most coaches are not hiding secrets. And personally, I like it when when coaches come in and they ask to see what we're doing. You might want to find out which cycle they're in. Are they in a macro cycle? Are they in a pre-competition? Are they in a preparation cycle? You can ask them to show you the programming so you can see what it looks like. You can check and see how the athletes are responding. For instance, you might see athletes in the third week of a preparation mesocycle, and you can determine whether they're approaching the bar with enthusiasm, whether they're tired, whether they're moving slowly, those sorts of things. And you can get an idea of what they're supposed to look like at that stage in the cycle. And then how does the coaching modify the behavior of the athlete depending on where they are in the cycle? Sometimes they may be encouraged. Sometimes they probably need to be held back a little bit. But whatever it is, you can learn a lot about coaching just by watching the coach. And a lot of coaches really wouldn't mind having another pair of eyes to see what's going on in their gyms. What I did, and I think this was very helpful, I ran an internship program at my gym for 9 years, and we had over 50 interns come through. They had to spend 100 hours in the gym, and I kept track of the 100 hours, and they got to watch the daily training. They got to watch me coach. They got to watch my assistant Toby coach. And then if they were there during a time when we had a competition, they would come to the competitions and watched how we did the warm up and how we dealt with athletes on the platform and how we dealt with successes and failures on the platform. So, in conclusion, the first thing I have to say is you must become an autodidact. That is somebody that teaches themselves things. And if you're going to be a weightlifting coach, like I said, the courses are just a starting off point. You must spend a lot of time figuring out what are the nuts and bolts of coaching? How do you do it? There are not a lot of good books about how to do it. So a lot of it, you're just going to have to figure it out or talk to somebody that already knows what they're doing. I would advise that you become a part of your local weightlifting community, and so you can talk with other coaches and develop relationships with those more experienced coaches. So I hope this has been helpful, that it's planted some suggestions in your head and that you can follow up on that. And I wish you the very best in your coaching journey. Bye for now.